Okay. So the next step for this this baby quilt, this is for baby Luna B. I was waiting on some spray adhesive. However, after I thought about it, I didn't want any chemicals around my baby, so I'm not going to put them around anybody else's. So I opted to just not and pin a whole lot so that I can get this top at least quilted together late this evening after we rehearse again. We're preparing to go sing somewhere next weekend, and then my husband sings at church on Sunday. But anyway, so in order to prepare for this, I'm going to be really careful not to poke myself again with pins. And I'm going to need a lot of pins. I do have quilting safety pins. The problem is with those are for really large quilts. I really would need the 1 inch, one and a half, pardon me, inch sizes to do this baby quilt. And I don't have them, and that's okay. So I keep extra pins for such a time as this. All right. So I'm working on my ironing board. Why am I working on my ironing board? Glad you asked. The reason why I chose to work on my ironing board, number one, I can sit on my recliner. And two, the other reason is because an ironing board, here's the end, is very, the depth is, see, here's the reach. See where so I'm able to get, whenever I put a pin in, I'm able to put my hand up under and reach where I'm pinning. So I chose to use a short width to work with. All right, now the next thing is every quilt needs a batting of some sort. I have been learning. And if you'll note, there's this big old long crease. That's where the fabric has been halved. Well, this shows me that this is my center point, which is fantastic. I do not have a center point long ways on this, but that is okay because I can eyeball that part because it's a very small quilt. A baby quilt is a very small quilt. Well, I don't have to eyeball it. I have a measuring tape right there. Oh. Okay. So, I'm recording. All right, so we're gonna take this. We're gonna go from corner or edge to edge, and it's 24 inches wide. So that means half would be 12, right? So we will take the 12, which would be the half. You can walk past me, honey. And we're just gonna Sharpie a little point to show me that that's the halfway on this. So, let's see if you can see. Do you see this pin? I've got it pinned down, the halfway pinned down to the board, the foamy part of the board. That way my halfway point doesn't move. So I'm going to take my halfway point here, the actual batting, and I'm going to line it up there. And then I'm going to take the batting, and the batting, I only want to put the batting on the pink, attached to the pink. So I'm going to put my hand underneath here, which is why I'm using my ironing board, because I can reach it. Okay. Now I'm going to spread this out and make sure everything's nice and level. No bubbles, because now, yeah, there we go. I'm gonna do another pin to this so that it keeps that halfway point there. And I think I don't want to attach it to the board. I did not. I just attached the layers. Okay. The next thing is this. All right. So, we know that 12 is, we know that 12 is the center-ish, right? Because, you know, people make errors, so nothing's perfect. But we're going to take this and we're going to mark that 12 down here, so that as I am lining things up, I can be consistent that there's the 12 right there, ish, right? Yeah, if I put that right there, yeah, there's a 12. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing when I go down lower. I don't have to do it right at this second. Okay, it just helps me as a guide. I don't know how other people do this, but this is how I'm doing it. And you do it the way that it works for you, or makes sense, or what you have access to, because we don't all have access to the same things. All right. So, like everybody else, sometimes we have to just, let's see. Yes, that's the top. All right. So now we say we got to find the center point here, so that we line the baby quilt up the center point here. Now I am not going to, well, I may make a mark, but anyway. Okay, so this baby quilt wide, and of course it has to be something funky like 18, and that's a half. That would be 3/4. Hold on. It is this one. I have to put it on here, and then I'm gonna have to figure it out. All right, hold on. Let's see, there's a half. That would be 3/4. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 6 eighths. 18. Hang on. Yeah. Something like that, because I'm going to have to trim this anyway. So let me round to the 18.5, because when I say it is like between the 18.5 and the 18 3/4, it is just like literally a hair or a thread's difference. Okay, so half of 18 is 9, so the 9.5 is going to be the halfway on this. Okay, so we're gonna slide that up. Let me put my measuring tape back there again. Put it way over here again. Yeah, once you pull that, it goes to 18.5. I thought that was weird. All right, I am gonna go ahead and use a Sharpie, but I'm just gonna literally, you can't see it, but it's just like literally a little dot on the white, because there will be a border that rolls over that, so nobody will see that. All right, so here's what that looks like. We'll just put that around me. Do you see? Probably not. Do you see the little black dot? Let me find it. It's right here. See that little black dot? That is my halfway. And yes, I need to paint my nails again. All right. I mean, it's just ever so. All righty. Then I'm going to come down more. And all I'm going to do with this is literally pin this quilt top down. Well, first we're going to iron it before we pin it. So I'll iron a section and then I'll pin it. I hope it doesn't set the chalk, but I'll be stitching over that anyway. So the plan is I'm going to quilt it this way on both sides, and then twice, you know, like tracing this. And then I'm going to free motion quilt a heart on each one of the blocks. So that's how it's going to be quilted. And so late tonight, after everybody goes to bed, I'm only going to be quilting the straight lines, which will probably literally only take 30 minutes, if that. 30 minutes to be careful. I'm letting my iron come up. So, let me just get this pinned and then we can rehearse. It won't take that long. So this one is like literally, it's basically at the finish line. The biggest thing is once I get it with the straight line quilting, then I can take the trim off the batting around the sides. And then I will measure, and then I will trim the outside on Wednesday. I'm not going to do it till Wednesday, and I'll tell you why. I need some Elmer's glue. I've watched 100 people do this, and Elmer's glue is the way to go for me. Before I attempt the binding, I'm going to get some Elmer's glue just because of my hands. I'm having a deficit in my hands still. And then I will fold the edges over to make the binding, and then I'll Elmer's glue right up underneath the edge of the fabric, and then I'll use my iron to heat set that, and then to use these little quilting fabric clamps. These aren't too terribly hard for my fingers to use. They flip out of my hands, but I can use them if I concentrate really hard. Okay, here we go. So, why is that? All right, it's coming to Tim. I didn't have it on. What do you think about this, Daddy? That's what I'm thinking. I wish I could have, I would have known how to do this when Savannah was little, but now I can make her, quilts larger. All right. There we go. We'll just need to do is be smart about this. I meant to tell you, we need to, next time this is off, we need to scrub the iron. Something got on it, and I don't want to ruin this quilt. I don't know what it was, something that melted. Hey, look at those little coffee mug things. All right, so we're just gonna lay Santa Claus on top and use it as a protector. Yeah, that way it'll still iron the quilt, but the quilt wouldn't get damaged if that little spot. All right. I was taught to do this with like a pillowcase whenever you were going to be ironing like a Sunday best dress. You know, something that couldn't get ruined because it was like really nice. Well, so the same thing here. I don't want to ruin this, so we're gonna put a protector so that I can still press it. Okay. Okay, so we'll set that over there for the next, but now everything's a lot smoother. And I will clip all the strings at the very end, because I need one of those pair of scissors that kind of like have a curve so that you can get like right at the fabric. I don't have one yet. So we're gonna line up the black dots, because now I know where my center point is. This time I'm only going to pin between the batting and the top. So what does that look like right there? So now, oh, yeah, so that's in the center. Not really sure why that stuck to that, but okay. I guess it ironed down. Okay. I am going to pin a lot so that my fabric does not slip. Somebody else may not pin as much, but I am, because I would really like to get to the end of this with a beautiful quilt without having to say, I'm so sorry, it was really nice until the end. I don't want to have to weep those tears, so we're gonna go ahead and, you know what, I do need to go through the backing. Hang on. Let's see. And the reason why I did this was so that I could get my hand under. So we're gonna go down and then we're gonna pull back up. Yes. All right, so that went through all 3 layers. This one I have to put my hand up here. See, this is why I did that. It was so I could go down through the 3 layers. Wow. Look. Oh, grab that pin. Can you hand me those? That thing bent in an L shape. They don't make pins like they used to. All right, so here's this. All right. This is also another reason why I had pinned down to the board first, and then I pinned down the the batting to the pink backing so that when I start moving things, the center point stays where it needs to be. All right. So now we're going to smooth everything back out. And I'm gonna move the ironing board. That's the other reason why I chose to do this, is because I could move it around so I could show what I was doing. I'm getting a better camera stand this week that it'll be on an arm and I can bring it down and it'll have a light on it so you can actually see. But I promise to try to keep my nails painted. Let's see. I may need to pull that one up a little bit. All right, so we're gonna do this. Alrighty. All right. And then I will, if you hear my dog getting huffy, it's because he's trying to tell somebody he wants something. I think he's out of water. Lazarus, are you out of water? Huh? Tell Daddy, I need water. When he needs more water or food, he'll go into his bowl and then he will like take his nose and knock the bowl into the wall. And then he comes in and sits and looks at you like Eddie on Frasier. Like, I need something. I'm going to stare at you until you get what it is that I need. All right, so now it's easier to pin because I don't have to worry about it sliding as much because I'm getting more pins in it as we go. Yeah, look at this pin. Can you see how it bent? That's crazy. It's like almost like a boomerang. Hang on. You see that? And I was just poking through 3 very thin layers of fabric. That's funny. So we'll have to toss him later. Normally I reuse stuff, but that one right there needs to go. All right, so now we're back on this end. And we're going to, yeah, see, I can reach right up underneath it by using a short distance workspace. All right, so we're gonna put my hand under here, pick up all 3 layers, and I'm gonna pin this next. This next little junction. Now, I'll just take them out as I get to them. But the whole thing is, it's going to not move. I'm gonna go ahead and pin down the blocks as well because I don't want those to shift on me. I think that's what happened with my very first one that I actually got to quilting, was that my fabric slid and so it bunched on me. I'm not gonna worry about pinning every block, I don't think. I don't know yet. That remains to be seen. But I don't think you can over pin. I mean, I guess it's possible, but not if you want a good end result. And I want a really pretty little girl quilt at the end result. That's what I'm going for. Because fresh new little girls are very special. Little girls are special anyway, but brand new life, you know, deserve something handmade and pink. or purple. Not everybody's a pink person, but this particular mom was an antique pink person. And I actually really love the color, or the colors of the antique. Vintage was the word she used. I really, really do love the vintage pink. And I may even, not necessarily these patterns, but I think I will definitely do more in vintage pink because of this very quilt. And I'm trying really hard to make sure, which I'm at the beginning of this journey, I'm trying really hard to, even if I use the same fabrics, because I'm trying to not waste anything as much as possible, that each quilt has something a little unique and different, even if it's similar or uses the same fabric that I used for somebody else's. So if you ever see me using the same fabric for someone else's quilt, I am making a conscious effort to make it unique to them and leave yours unique to you. I can't always promise, like if I'm doing it for someone who's asked for something specific. And this, I just happened to ask the mom, you know, did she have a favorite color? And that's why I even picked something that the mom requested, because she said she liked vintage pink. So God provided the opportunity to use vintage pinks. And I am for real excited about this. If I can get, which I am, I'm going to do it late this evening, after the dog, after Lazarus goes to bed, so he's not huffing and puffing and chewing on his bone and crinkling on a plastic bottle, because he loves to gnaw on the mouthpiece of a plastic bottle. And it can get nerve-wracking when you're trying to think and pay attention. But if I can get this part done, which I am, then later it's literally picking it up, praying first. Jesus, let this go. Take the wheel on this and let this baby girl's quilt come out the first time, so it doesn't have a bunch of tiny little holes where it's the, I'm sorry, I had to restart yet again. All right, so let's smooth it back out, because now I'm going to have to undo it from the actual ironing board. Yes, because now I have to roll it downward because I have to iron. Is this in the ironing board? No, it is not. Okay. So, I can't remember what we did with those quilting pins. That's all right. I'll put some stuff here on the side across this batting, so that whenever I move it to hang off, it won't shift. My husband's grandmother was a professional, amazing quilter. And I kind of kicked myself now. Actually, his aunt was as well, his Aunt Carol, and his grandmother, Martha Nell Barrow. And I kicked myself now that I appreciated the beauty of the quilts and I was blown away by the hand artistry that both of them had, where it was gifted, but I didn't have like an interest in quilting at that time. Now they're with Jesus, and I think his sister also quilts. I think both of them would have been really tickled by both any of the girls that all of a sudden. Although Brandy's quilted longer than me. But it is very artful, and it's very peaceful, relaxing. And every stitch and pin and fabric selection and cutting and seam ripping, it's a labor of love. It really is. Even if you don't know the person, it's still a labor of love, I think. Okay, so now let me, well, I definitely am doing my due diligence, if nothing else. If it turns out bad, it's not from a lack of trying. Let's see. And it was the right idea. It was the right idea to literally pin the mess out of this sucker. Do you see all the pins? Okay, so now I can comfortably take it and roll it over the edge of the ironing board now. Pay no attention to the water stains. I'm actually getting a new iron cover this week. It is long overdue, but it was just something I'll put off because all we do is iron on it, and it's just water stains. But I guess if I'm gonna video, I probably should change it out, because we do live in a judgmental world these days. Overly judgmental, but anyway, there we go. So after this set of 2 that I'm getting ready to do, I only have one more set of 2, and it's all pinned. So it's not going to take that long to finish pinning. And I want to make sure there's nothing bulked up underneath it. I did miss this one, so I'm gonna reach up underneath here and pin that one. Okay. One day I will save the video clips of one quilt every time I sit down to work on it, and then learn to put it all together into a video so that the person receiving it can go back and watch their quilt being made. Possibly. At least the baby ones, you know. Plus, there are a few people that have asked to learn, or they sew and they are wanting to learn more or swap ideas. I don't run a business. I mean, I can't say that God would never say, hey, you know, I'm going to open this door. He may, I don't know. Right now, it's not the time. It's a time of therapy and learning and just enjoying the extra peace it brings, and giving something to someone else as a gift. That's what's happening here at the moment. And I like to send a scripture or 2. I've actually got to go ahead and write up tomorrow. That's my job tomorrow, is to kind of write up a letter and a prayer over this quilt to be gifted with the quilt to the young mother. Beautiful young mother. And I don't know if this is her first one, but she'll be a great mom. She has a lot of supportive friends, and where she works and such, which are all good things for a young mother. Not all of us have had as much support as as we really could have used. But God does send, or we wanted, let me put it that way. Because if I didn't have Clint was like, he was everything that I needed. God worked through my husband. And I know there are many families where God works through the spouse to be what the new mom needs and support. And my husband knocked it out of the park and set the bar. But anyway, he took care of me with post-op complications and the new baby with Savannah. And he cooked all the meals, the dishwasher, the laundry, all the doctor's appointments at the beginning. Actually, he does most of the he's done most of the doctor's appointments through the pediatric care years because, well, he worked pediatrics and too. He's the one that started out and kind of knew the doctors and knew the whole, it was, so anyway, he would call me and we'd do it together, but he was the one that carried her because I couldn't lift. And it took me a long time to get past the that emergency surgery, C-section. I only had one, I only wanted one. I don't want to, I'm okay that God only blessed us with one. She's one amazing kiddo, and I didn't have to go a second round, and I'm thankful because I don't want another abdominal surgery. Any mom that's had a C-section will tell you it's an experience to remember, and if they got to do it in an emergency situation, it's definitely, you're not going to forget it. But God held us both. We're both here, and it's a joy to get to love on other young moms by just quilting a little quilt. And even if, the baby never uses it, and it's just a quilt to hang across a rocking chair as a decoration, or just hangs over the side of a crib just to be that finishing touch, so that mom gets that, something's put together. I'm so tired, but this is ties up loose ends that still need to be done in my day, while she's rocking her baby. And then later on, if they want, they can let the little girl, as she grows, use it for her baby dolls. And then she gets to use it even longer, or she can put it away in a memory box for the little girl for when she gets married, and she can send it with her. However the mom would like to use it. And then if she doesn't like it, it's okay. It won't hurt my feelings. It was a joy to do it. But as soon as I get this one done, this one should be done by Wednesday. Because I've got to get the glue, the Elmer's glue, which is non-toxic, and it washes out. And it would never touch the baby anyway. It's underneath the very, very, very edge in a little teeny tiny bead. But I just could not get a spray glue knowing that this was going to go to a little one. And because I don't have a front load, I'm not going to pre-wash it. And because it's for a baby, I'm not going to take it to a laundromat and pre-wash it. I mean, it doesn't have to be pre-washed. It's all 100% cotton. But, these days, you don't know what goes through the laundromat. And I'm not too good to go to the laundromat, but it's a brand new baby. So I'm gonna use precaution. Now what Mama does with it, that's okay, because she's the mama and she gets to decide. No matter what anybody tells you, you get to decide as the mom. It's your baby. Now, if you ask, that's one thing. But let God build your confidence that He can help you discern It's okay to ask people's opinion. Definitely ask your doctor's input. Yes, you can use the internet to look for things, but don't be afraid to ask. And then you still can say, Mama thinks something different, because you're the one that laid down your life and let them bring that baby into the world through your body. So if I had to do it all over, I would do things a little bit different. I would have leaned on the Lord more instead of being afraid of making a mistake and not being perfect and second guessing everybody's opinion. Not that the opinions weren't good, but you know, I obsessed over, well, are they right and I'm wrong, or am I doing this wrong? Am I not, you know? So don't do that to yourself. Stay in prayer, do your research, ask those that you're closest to who have been successful parents, as in, you know, their kids got through life and went on and got married and stuff. So, and it's good to get several opinions sometimes, but don't always do it. You know, let God build your confidence as a mom. And I didn't feel like this end needed as much ironing, because I had just ironed this, because it's the end, like I just completed this, so there's very little wrinkle, so I didn't stop for that, if you kind of caught that. All right, so I've only got this row and the last, and then we are pinned. Okay. I'm not being very good with moving the camera around. That's why I'm getting that thing that's taller, so it can be a wider angle on top of what I'm doing. And with neuropathy, let me tell you, pinning is a challenge, but I will tell you, I'm encouraged that I listen for the puncture, and then I lift up to get my hand under there to not get poked, because let me tell you, a pin in neuropathy is just icing on the cake. But whenever I pick it up and I can kind of see the little bubble, then I know where it's going to poke through, so my hand goes up underneath it and helps it poke through. And look, I'm going to need more pins. Wow. This sucker is pinned tight like Fort Knox. I'm going to hurry up and pin and move on, because there's a tiny little mistake right there. But it's at the bottom. The baby will never know. And I didn't want to delay taking it apart one more time, just for that one small mistake. It also reminds me that I'm not perfect. Okay, almost. Yeah, if I took this apart now, it would delay it by like at least another week, and it needs to be done. Okay. I cannot believe how many pins are in the sucker. Let's see. Yeah, and I haven't pinned it to the board, so we've done good. I laid my hand right on top of that pin. Ah. So I just lift up, go down, and try to. Got myself again. All right, more pins. I'm gonna have to order more pins because the more you have prep, the more pins you need. I need to get one of those magnets and put it like on a rope, and then drag it in my area after I sew every time, so I don't end up with one up my foot, because that would be a bad day. Legit a bad day. Legit a bad day. I love you, Clint. What? You can say it louder.
Love you too. You're filming.
It's okay if people know that you love me too. He loved me enough to make me pancakes this morning. And he loved me enough to get me some coffee this morning. Although he does the coffee most of the times. But that did not start with me. When he was a teenager, he made coffee for his family. I'm not saying he was in charge of it, or he did it all the time. I don't know. I wasn't there. But he's been making coffee since he was a boy. Ow, daggone. Did you always make coffee as a teenager?
No.
Yeah, you just, whenever you saw, you just decided to be helpful. There we go. All right, so the next time there's a video for this one, it will have been quilted with the straight lines. It will not have the hearts done until, I will do those Wednesday, because I've got to find an actual chalk pencil. The chalk disc is great, but I can't like really get in the little hump of the heart, so I need a chalk pencil. But then I can use that for a good long time. They're not very expensive. They're just a few dollars, I believe. But I'll be able to get the heart drawn for myself. I know it's free motion and all, but this El Nina, is that the girl? Nina, is that Spanish for girl? Oh, pardon me. This girl, how do I say this girl in Spanish?
Say chica.
Oh, well, I don't want to say it wrong and offend anybody, but anyway, this girl needs to pre-draw until I am much more seasoned and I have gloves. And I don't have gloves, so we're going to skip the throw caution to the wind. I need the gloves, and I need to pre-draw lightly with chalk. And then just a faint chalk line is plenty. And then I am confident that this is not going to slide around on me, because there are plenty of pins. Yes. Now, once I go across in the quilting, then I will take the pin and move it up into the little short section where I'm going to quilt from top to bottom. So I'll just slide it and repin with the pins that are already in it. Okay, so folks, we are going to quilting at this point tonight, late tonight. My days and nights are still mixed up. I'm just letting the Lord work it out. But so when I can't sleep, and that's nothing I can, I'm not up worried or anything. It's just my body goes through cycles, and sometimes I can sleep, and then other times it could be months before my days and nights are flipped back around. But I think as this one comes to a finish, which it is, that it'll be a huge deep breath and a yay God win, because I'm not doing this in my own strength, I can assure you. I can't go very quickly, but it is helping me. It helps remove some of the heaviness of my circumstances, not to be selfish, but I mean, it is what it is. And it helps keep more heaviness off of me during prayer ministry and things. And, you know, life from day to day, it can get chaotic and the noise loud out in the beyond. But it just kind of keeps the noise turned down. Quilting is a wonderful thing. Okay, so the next thing is I will have my husband hold this up, and I'll take just a photo. But go ahead and look. Let's see. So here is the very bottom of the quilt. And as I slide it forward, you'll see that it is pinned all the way to the top, to the tippy top. Okay, and we are so almost done with this quilt. All glory to God.